I'm going to talk about fractions, decimals, and percents, and how they relate to each other. Each of these ways of expressing numbers, fractions, decimals, and percents, are different ways of representing parts of a whole thing. If we have a whole, uneaten pizza, we can represent it in different ways, and in this case, it depends on how many times we slice it. We've sliced this pizza into 4 large pieces. So representing this whole pizza as a fraction would be written as 4/4. We have 4 slices, and they are all present. That's a really important thing to note when it comes up again in algebra, so I'd like to take an extra moment to focus on that idea. Any fraction that has the same number in the numerator, that's the top number, and the denominator, that's the bottom number, is equal to 1 because it means you have the whole thing. Again, the numerator, or the top part of the fraction, represents the parts we have present, and the denominator, or the bottom part, represents the total parts that make up a whole. Well, what about decimals? The decimal point shows where the number becomes less than a whole thing. In this case, we have 1 whole pizza and 0 parts of pizzas. For the decimal value, it didn't matter that the pizza had 4 slices. It only mattered that the whole thing was present. And then there are percents. When we have a whole pizza, we have 100% of pizza. Have you ever heard of people giving 100%? That means they're giving all of themselves. But what if we have less than the whole thing? This is where these number formats become really useful. If someone eats part of a pizza, or 1 slice in this case, we'll now have just part of a whole left. So let's see how we'd represent this with a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. For the fraction, we'd write 3/4. Again, the numerator shows how many parts are present, and the denominator shows how many parts make up the whole thing. Another thing to pay attention to with fractions is the slash or line between the numbers. This is actually a division line. So each fraction is a tiny little division problem. If you're able, pause the video and take an extra minute to get your calculator, phone, or computer keyboard and type in that division problem. 3 divided by 4. You might see either the slash or the division symbol on your device, but they work the same way. The answer is going to show you the decimal value. So 3/4, or 3 divided by 4, equals 0.75 in decimal form. The 0 is how many whole pizzas we have, 0 whole pizzas, and the 0.75 is the parts of the pizza we have left. This might be a familiar value in terms of money. If you think about how you make up 75 cents in coins, or how you could, you might spot a similarity to this pizza situation, but we'll talk more about that later. So, the last way we're going to represent this pizza is in a percent. We have 75% of this pizza present. Do you see the relationship between decimals and percents? We'll practice changing between each of these formats in upcoming videos. Understanding these representations of parts of a whole is useful for the GED exam, but it's also used with cooking, expenses, loans, and we'll look at examples of where each of these are used in day-to-day life. Thanks for watching.